Welcome to the only show that brings you happenings in the world of diplomacy and international relations, diplomatic affairs. My name is Harriet Nati. The show airs every Saturday on Pan-African television between the hours of 4 to 5 o'clock p.m. And we are also streaming on Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you find yourself in the world, you can always catch up with us and get to know what is happening in Ghana's diplomatic circle and of course the rest of the world. Today we find ourselves right here at the residence of the European Union ambassador to Ghana. Well, he's not a stranger when it comes to diplomatic affairs, right? He's been on the show. I can't even count anymore. I've lost count of the number of times we've had the opportunity to speak to him regarding EU operations right here in Ghana. But he is not alone this time on the show. We also have our international model, Victoria Michaels. I believe the name rings a bell. Yeah, that's a very big brand, and we all know this brand, right? She's making Ghana proud and putting Ghana on the world map. Before we delve into our assignments for today, I'd like to take a break, acknowledge our sponsors. When we come back, we begin our conversation. Please take a stay with us.
In previous seasons, you saw this.
You are not allowed to hawk or preach in commercial vehicles.
The perception in Ghana is abortion is illegal, and we don't follow up with the exceptions.
The existence of the customary marriage is no prerequisite
For the ordinance
marriage.
Yes. And now, are you ready for this?
Some people express the fact that they don't go on leave with pride.
Accumulated leave, like they term it, is illegal.
Because in Ghana we don't have enough lawyers, and the accused can apply for bail where he has no lawyer.
Knowing full well that you have an STI and you do not reveal that to the person and you have this sexual contact with the person, it is also part of domestic violence. Join the Law Express panel for relevant, informative, and educative topics.
It is clear that if the court grants bail, it is the registrar of the court that has the power to deal with execution of the bail.
All matrimonial properties that are sold without the consent of the other party are actually null and void.
Welcome back from that commercial break. The show is Diplomatic Affairs, and we are coming to you from the residence of the European Union ambassador to Ghana, Your Excellency Ichad Ramiandrasu Rezali. I hope I got it right.
Very good.
Okay, so we have him on the show as well. He's the head of the EU delegation to Ghana. And of course, we have our international model, proudly Ghanaian, making us proud, putting Ghana on the map, like I stated earlier, Victoria Michaels, who is the EU Goodwill ambassador right here in Ghana. I am very curious to learn more about this huge portfolio of hers. I'd like to know what her assignment is when it comes to this partnership between the European Union and, of course, her good self in steering the affairs of the European Union in Ghana. You're welcome to Diplomatic Affairs. Victoria, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you as well.
I thank you so much, and I'm loving your hair and everything. It's good to have you on the show again. Your Excellency Ichad, how are you?
I'm very well.
Where have you been? You've been missing. I've been looking for you in the diplomatic circle for some time now. I did, of course. You have a huge personality. Who wouldn't? You know, pushing the EU's agenda right here in Ghana. So you're so visible.
You're too kind, but now and again, we need to have a little break and a little rest.
Right. So how was the break?
Now I'm back.
How was the break?
Relaxing. Nothing special.
Where were you?
In Belgium, in France, and back to home, Ghana.
This is our home. We are happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Now, let's go into our assignment for today. So I've been following you keenly on all of your social media platforms. Yesterday, I guess I probably was one of the first to see a picture that you posted on Instagram with Victoria Michaels. So you were talking about the partnership between the EU and Victoria Michaels as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana. I'd like to know how strategic this move is. But before we do that, could you please walk us through what 2023 seeks to achieve with regards to relations between the EU and Ghana?
Of course, the relation between the European Union and Ghana are wide-ranging and far-reaching, I would say. As you know, we are working together with the country, with Ghana, the government and the CSOs and many stakeholders on a wide range of issues, from economic development to security to culture to sustainability to employment to agriculture, so on and so forth. As I said, we cover a lot, and depending on the specific topics, of course, you have a different type of audience and stakeholders. But the three main issues that we are working together with the government are, first of all, supporting a common agenda on economic growth and creating jobs, because this is so important for the population and the youth of this country. Secondly, to prepare and work with Ghana to lay the ground for a more sustainable economic growth path. And these are multi-dimensions. It is as important in the way we are supporting the transportation, public transport, for example, or we can support as well young entrepreneurs with interesting ideas. And the third topic is related to governance and security. So these are the wide areas in which we are working together with Ghana, with a large audience. And as you have understood, issues related to youth, to employment, to sustainability are key as well. And this is one of the reasons we are partnering with Victoria Michaels, because we have the ambition to reach new audience beyond the government circles, beyond the CSO circles. We want to attract interest and open up opportunities to people who are a bit far, who are not the natural partners to our operation, because we don't want to dwell only with the usual suspects, I would say, but try to open up opportunities to people who would not have, I would say, the natural reflex to reach out to us.
That's very interesting. I mean, the minute I learned about this partnership between the EU and Victoria Michaels as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana, I was very excited at the news, because it appears you spoke about the partnership you have with government at the government level, the many things that we are doing together in terms of policies, programs, initiatives, just to ensure that we grow together, we develop together. When you break that down, there are so many elements at play here. You talked about public transport, for instance. That also excites me a lot. I would want to find out if you thought the youth, perhaps, because Victoria carries this aura of youthfulness around her, and she's a big she's a big deal when it comes to influence in our society, not just our society, but of course at the global level as well. How strategic is this? Is this to appeal to the youth, if you mean not the regular audience?
Yes, you're right. But I know Victoria Michaels is a very modest person, and I will promote the reason why we are working with her, because she's not unknown to us. We have been working for the last years. Victoria was a so-called climate champion.
Right.
She's an entrepreneur. She's young. She's a dynamic woman. She has got a lot of passion for sustainability, and it was really normal for us. It was natural for us to propose her to be the EU Goodwill Ambassador as a recognition of the achievements
Right.
that she has reached so far, but as well to give, I would say, a more structured way for us to work together, to campaign together on those specific areas. And I think it's working well so far, and I want to take the opportunity to thank her for her contribution so far. And we are excited for what comes next.
Right, we're all excited at what comes next. We are talking about Victoria as if she's not here. Victoria, let's come to you. That night, it was a night of pomp and pageantry. It was beautiful. The unveiling of you as the EU Goodwill Ambassador, the support of the diplomatic community, government officials, friends of the mission, and including myself, diplomatic affairs. We brought our cameras to capture that moment. I know you don't waste time when it comes to work. And I want to believe even that night, as soon as you were unveiled as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana, you were at it, accelerating already. Yes. Tell me what has been happening since you were unveiled as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana.
Okay, I'm happy to be on this platform and also thankful to the EU for the opportunity to represent them in this regard. Way before that unveiling, work had already commenced. As he rightly said, we had done, a lot of, projects in the past, which sort of gave the commission the confidence that, Victoria is the right person to work with. And of course, one of the main thing for us is to use all the necessary channels and platforms to promote the activities, and projects of the EU. So my answer to that is, it was already ongoing, okay, and right after that, it's continued. So we've, had deliberations, on ongoing activities that have been rolled out, and they're going great. In the area of youth empowerment, education, sustainability, climate change. It's been an amazing journey.
So for me, you talked about, Excellency spoke about sustainability. You are a climate advocate, champion. I've had the opportunity to be part of a project you undertook, I think somewhere last year, the beach cleaning exercise, and he was there, the entire European Union. This was in partnership with the EU. We saw you on the ground working. Let's talk about sustainability. Let's talk about this and how we can create jobs for women when we talk about women empowerment. What are some of the opportunities you think we can spot in that area?
Okay, so sustainability is actually the way to go. Okay, in every sector. It is a global discussion right now, which is why the EU is taking it very seriously. So I would say in the fashion aspect, okay, now there are a lot of raw materials that gets wasted, okay, that could be recycled and reused, okay, but then due to lack of awareness, they do not know what to do, okay? So the right platforms are being created, okay? Training, education, like Ambassador rightly said, to sort of, bring their mind to what needs to be done and what could be done, with the waste that has been, collected. I was having a conversation with the ambassador a few days ago, and it came up that when this waste is collected, where does it go? What is it used for? So it goes beyond just collecting. Now, when people are mindful of what to do with it, that is a step further. And then what does it do to the economy? It contributes to the GDP. It just sort of it boosts our economy. Okay. So, for example, you made mention of the beach cleaning we did. I mean, for me, it's not just a matter of being there and looking good as.
Oh, that day you didn't really look good. You were in your sneakers, Victoria, running around, picking.
Yes, but then there are people who appear to, sort of look good in that environment and they do nothing. I mean, I'm very passionate about sustainability, about our environment and keeping it clean. So on that day, I actually focused on, collecting textile waste, okay? And you'll be amazed the chunk, that was collected. You were there.
Yes, I picked. I ended up picking as well. I wasn't only invited to come and cover. Each had actually made me pick some, waste as well, and that was very good, And I thought we should be doing this every now and then. I know that's one of the things that EU, does in this country, And so for me, I think you just, said it right when it comes to collecting waste. It goes beyond just collection.
It can be put to its, various use. So, for example, the fabric or the textiles, right, is something that could be used to create clothing. Okay, woven as a handbag, as a heart, a basket,
accessories, you name it, everything.
You'd be amazed. Even the metals, it could be, disembarked, brought together to actually represent something that you never even imagined, it could be used for. So, I mean, the one of the goals of the EU is to, provide that education, to bring home the technical know-how of, the importance of, collecting, and then what then it can be used for. There are projects that, they've actually sponsored, yes, where young people, were brought together to say, okay, what is your talent? What can you do with, this waste?
The approach to sustainability is multi-pronged.
Right.
I think it has been hinted at. The beach cleanup is a one-day action, which will not change, unfortunately, the course of...
But it will create the awareness.
It will create the awareness. This is very important. And this is one of the tools for which you can approach the sustainability issue, because down the line, as Victoria said, we are supporting financially young entrepreneurs who have developed ideas, techniques, technologies to recycle some of the waste which is collected. Some of them have even created small or medium-sized business. They are employing women, unemployed women, to collect the waste, and then they transform the waste, and some of them are even selling them on international market, because these waste have got value when properly segregated, properly dealt with, and these guys, out of nothing, are selling plastic pellet in the international market. They have got international off-takers. This is one example. Another way to approach it, for example, is as well to encourage sound policies. Because it's not, of course, it's about you, it's about me, it's about Victoria, it's about the viewers, but it's about as well creating a sound policy environment. And this is exactly what we have been doing last week, supporting the AfriWalk event convened by Madame Saumia Baumia, which is a way as well to address policies for women and child in the face of climate change. So this is another contribution. And then you've mentioned it, when it comes to larger industries, we are supporting growth and economic model which is more sustainable than the previous ones. Could be hydrogens, could be photovoltaic, could be anything. So this is a multi-pronged approach to sustainability. So we all have our part to play, and awareness raising and inclusivity of women and youth is a key element of that, and this is one of the reasons why we think the profile, the work, the ideas, the achievement of Victoria can make a difference.
Of course, Victoria is, like I said, a big influence, globally. So definitely results would be, achieved at the end of the day. I would want to come to Victoria. Let's talk about practicalities. We've mentioned enormous projects that are in place, ongoing already. Let's talk about how it is going for you. Are we making the difference already? Because it's been, I think about 8 months since you were unveiled as the EU Goodwill Ambassador. Am I right?
Yes, of course, we're making progress. And I always refer to, what has happened in the past, which is
Right.
ongoing.
Yes.
So, like you said, when the awareness is created, through the various mediums, other people are inspired to follow suit. Okay, so I can confidently say that the beach cleanup you saw has actually gone beyond that, where people are now mindful of where to drop, their waste, and just, sort of, doing things right and knowing what to do, with it. Okay, so a lot more, people in the not just fashion industry,
Space.
Other sectors as well, are now beginning to, sort of do things that would, get them returns,
Right.
through this way. So you saw the fashion show that
we did.
Yes,
we
did. About I would say 90% of what you saw, it was through recycled materials.
Right.
After that, there are, other designers who, have approached to say, would like to be part of what you're doing. Can you, sort of support in any way you can? Can you, guide us or show us how to get, the right training? So it's actually, it's been brilliant, we actually have done circular economy.
Yes.
You were
Yes.
there.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly, and you saw the results of that. So, I mean, the projects are, they're life changing. Everyone who sort of have come on board have been impacted positively, and we are not stopping. We actually want to, leave a legacy, a mark that, would leave people, with the notion that, this is what they're about, and this is, what they're about is going to create that change that is required.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So the EU is very intentional when it comes to its relations with Ghana. The EU and Ghana have always had a very solid relationship, and we've already discussed, even at the government level, the many initiatives that are ongoing, programs that are ongoing when it comes to EU-Ghana relations. With Victoria as the EU Goodwill Ambassador, now it is 8 months already championing the interests of the EU or working together. When we come back from this break, I'd like to find out what are some of the challenges in going about her job. And of course, the European Union ambassador will also tell us about the new initiatives. These are not so new, but some of the interventions that they've already started embarking on when it comes to Ghana-EU relations. I'll be back right after this break.
Trasacco Estates, home to Accra's most beautiful and luxurious homes, presents its newest addition, Trasacco Springs, a premium master planned community of service plots surrounded by an exhaustive list of amenities. The gated community of Tema to Accra Motorway presents you the finest opportunity to own a land that suits your preferred size, budget, and payment terms. Trasacco Springs is open to you for development. Our on-site sales executives are ready. Call
Welcome back. You're still watching Diplomatic Affairs. My name is Harriet Nate. We are on Pan-African television, streaming in over 40 African countries. And of course, we are also global via social media, Facebook and YouTube. So you can always catch up with us just to learn more of events from the world of diplomacy, Ghana's world of diplomacy, and of course, the rest of the world also. My guest, His Excellency Ichad Ramendra Surazali, the EU head to Ghana, and of course Victoria Michaels, who was recently unveiled as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana, helping the European Union to achieve its priorities in our country, or enhancing, fostering relations between the EU and Ghana. So we've been talking about so much. We've talked about the projects that you're working on with Victoria as the EU Goodwill Ambassador. We've touched on her huge portfolio as a EU Goodwill Ambassador. We've also talked about the many interventions that you are embarking on with the government of Ghana, the beautiful relations we have between the EU and of course Ghana. Let's talk about the European Year of Skills. I'm told that is the theme running for the year 2023. Tell us a bit about this and what we intend to achieve with this theme at the end of the day.
You have visited Brussels and our headquarters, so you know how it works. And
Right.
every year we have a specific theme to structure our intervention around. And this year around is skills, and for us it's more skills and youth. And this is what we celebrated during the special day for Europe, the 9th of May. But beyond the celebration, of course, we are putting on the floor our intervention, which are best preparing the youth of Ghana to grab the best opportunities in life. So this is about skill. And we have embarked with the government of Ghana, with the Ministry of Labour and Employment, Ministry of Education, other departments, with what we call a Pact for Skill. EU-Ghana Pact for Skill.
Pact for Skill.
Yes, which is a very wide program that we are running together with our German friends here, which is to enhance and deepen our already existing intervention to support technical and vocational training for youth. Because this is one of the best tools to make it into the labor market and to be able to find a job or to create your business. Because this is a wide, I would say, reaching approach. Not only we are providing skills, but we are as well, through specific programs, as mentioned, supporting the young entrepreneurs. So on one side, we have launched this EU-Ghana Pact for Skills, 40 million euros of grant on one side. On the other side, we are supporting the establishment of value addition in the field of transformation of fruits, vegetables, agricultural products. And this is directed to youth and women in the rural areas, which is very important in this country. And the third intervention that we are running every year, which is very successful, is the Erasmus program.
Right.
This is a program where we are handing over a very high number of scholarship for undergraduate, graduate, postgraduate, and even for TVET. Some of the TVET can be done, curricula can be done in the best European universities. So once again, this is a multi-pronged approach. It's not just about saying youth is important, we have to do this and that, but we are putting on the table the tools, skills acquisition, access to funding, and space for, I would say, academia, so on and so forth. And the last element, which is an element I know is very important for Victoria and for you, is culture. Culture, not in terms of cultural product, but in terms of creative industries. And for the first time in Ghana, we have recently supported the creation of animation product, which has been developed in Ghana in partnership with European animation specialists. They came this time around from France, and this is a very promising area because it has been demonstrated that the Ghanaian youth is very gifted and talented when it comes to develop this digital product leading to animation, 3D animations.
Right, you are leaving no stone unturned, huh?
We hope so.
Well, that's good. Anything that has to do with the youth and skills development, big on skills development. And I'm happy that we get to replicate some of these practices when it comes to relations between the two parties, EU and, of course, Ghana. So you talked about a huge sum of money for grant. Where is that going into exactly?
It depends on the topic, but in this specific case, when it comes to the Pact for Skills, it is supporting the training through the institutions which are existing in Ghana. We are working, as I said, with the Ministry of Labor and Employment, Education, and they have. The reason why we are embarking with that is because Ghana has got a very strong TVET policy and institutes. So we are supporting them. We are not creating something out of nowhere, and we are not imposing any schemes which is not fitting the local, I would say, circumstances. So this is very important. Yeah.
This is indeed very important when it comes to relations between the two parties. Victoria, I know you are playing a very important role in all of this. Let's talk about the minute it comes to youth, women empowerment. I mean, you jump at these things because you are very passionate on these things. Let's talk about your approach to getting results. What are some of the challenges? I like to hear the approach, I like to hear the success stories, and of course the challenges, because they come together.
Okay. All right, so it is a partnership, okay? We work hand in hand, you know, myself and the EU. So for every project, you know, we brainstorm and we sort of map out the areas and how we want to handle it. Okay, and one of them is, you know, using the channels, the mediums, you know, available to us in creating, you know, awareness. Okay, and then when it comes to youth empowerment, okay, and of course youth development, there are a lot of young people who do not know what career path to go. Okay, sure. And there are also the ones who have an idea, you know, or sort of want to make headway in life, but do not have the resources. That is where that's where the EU comes in. Okay, and how would they know? They wouldn't know if they are not informed. Okay, so, you know, the platforms, you know, we have is being used, you know, to communicate, you know, this to them, and then in return, they benefit from it, and then they sort of now add value to the society. So, I mean, the approach is simple, you know, it's synergy, you know, working together and making sure that the goals are, you know, are realized. You know, that is the approach.
Right. What are some of the challenges?
And I also wanted to add, you know, engaging, you know, the youth, engaging them, you know, finding out what their challenges are, you know, I mean, hearing their success stories, because if you do not know, then you wouldn't know how to tackle it. And you know, Ambassador is big on, you know, youth engagement, you know, youth empowerment. So, I mean, that is something we're going to be doing, you know, from time to time, yes. And then I wouldn't say there are challenges. I mean, in every, you know, situation, in every, you know, relationship, there's usually, you know, but then I would say that it has been smooth, you know, so far. Yes, I mean, it's been smooth so far. The only challenge, you know, would be when results is not derived. Right. At the end of the day, we want to get results. Yes. So impact. We want to make an impact, in the society, and do what has to be done. So so far it's been great. No challenges whatsoever, and I don't anticipate any.
Of course, I trust you to handle them even if they come as you go about your job, working together. One of the interesting things about good relationships between people is spotting opportunities in every situation. And I know those will not be problems, but of course, those would be a fine opportunity for you to also spot the advantages that these situations present at the end of the day. So,
And of course, because I sort of relate, with these people often, the women, especially, I tend to bring to the table some of the issues, some of the things that I think, could be addressed. Right. Okay, not just the women, but, for every youth who is looking to make headway, with the understanding I have, from my interaction with them, I bring it to the table and I say, okay, can we do this? Can we do that?
But how do you identify them? The youth, for instance, with diverse skills, untapped skills, how do you identify them? Because Excellency mentioned the many interventions, and I am excited about it. I know if there's someone watching, any person watching, any youth watching us, I'm sure they would be asking, so where do I find Victoria? Well, how do I access the EU's office? How do I access Victoria's office? So I'm very much interested. Let's be very practical with how they can access the offices that you have created.
I think it's a very valid question because, there are 30 million Ghanaians.
Yes.
And it's very difficult to identify and pick and choose. This is the reason why, for example, I'm embarking on youth dialogues. We'll be touring together with Victoria some of the big cities to meet youth. Could be in universities, could be in different settings. But the most practical and the most efficient way of identifying the talent is to run some competitions or contests. And we have been doing a number of those in different areas.
Through circular economy, for
instance.
Circular
economy is a very good example.
Right.
Because the winner this year is a couple of doctors. We have developed a technology to create sustainable sanitary pad, a very brilliant idea.
Sustainable sanitary pad.
Made out of transformation of banana leaf, for example. But they have been the winner of the competition, but they are not the only ones, because there have been a number of participants who have presented ideas, technology that they have been already developing. Even though they have not been the winners, these ideas are worth examining or considering and things like that. And this is one of the many events that we are running in that area.
Okay, that's awesome. Victoria, what would you want us to remember you for as the first person to have occupied the position of EU Goodwill Ambassador? This is the first one, and you happen to be driving this office. What would you want your legacy to be?
Okay, well, I would say impact. The impact we are both collectively going to make should be one that would be remembered for a long time to come. Okay, everyone who benefits from, the actions, the projects, all the things that Ambassador has mentioned, it should be something that everyone would remember in a long time to come. Okay, and when it's been remembered, the name Victoria, the name Achad, and of course the EU would be, remembered to a large extent. That's the most important thing.
That's the idea. That's the attitude.
I mean, she's a go-getter. She's a go-getter. Exactly. She's a go-getter. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. She's not afraid to get the job done. And when it's time for her to look all glamorous and, looking pretty, trust her to play that role as well. So, she has it all. And I think this is the attitude that actually gets results at the end of the day. I'm saying this because we have young women watching the show every day, and you are quite an exemplary to the many young women out there. You do your part when you have to do so. And this partnership, I know, is very strategic, and it has to do with so much. It's not just looking pretty always, like we said. It means you have to hit the ground running, and you have to have ideas. You have to identify challenges together with the European Union. You have to tackle the challenges. You have to look at the opportunities in those challenges and how you can create opportunities for the youth of our country at the end of the day. So it becomes a win-win situation for both parties, EU and Ghana.
They want to learn. Yes. They want you to imbibe something in them that would enable them to do things in the future, that would make them feel fulfilled. Yes. Okay, and that is what we are, all about. Yes, to just, make an impact that will bring about the desired result.
Yes.
Now you know why it's her. Because
Isn't it obvious? Isn't it obvious?
Because it would be very easy for Victoria just not to bother with all sort of things, continue modeling, going from one
country, one city to the other,
to another, etc. But she has this feeling of sharing and making
giving
a contribution.
Back.
And having impact. And for us, the challenge is just, we have limits when it comes to energy, with money, with time. These are the only limits. We want to do
so much,
but we have obvious limits.
But you're making impact. That's the most important thing.
And we are trying to do the most with what we have in hand.
So you can. And now we have the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana, also helping you achieve your priorities in the country. On that note, thank you so much, Victoria Michaels. Victoria Michaels, it's such a pleasure having you on Diplomatic Affairs. Ambassador Victoria Michaels. Yeah, you are an ambassador because you are putting Ghana out there through a joint effort with the European Union, and that is the way to go. We are proud of you. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, much appreciation to Your Excellency Ichad Ramiandrasu Razali. Thank you always for your time. Right, so it's been a very interesting time, well spent, as we delve into relations between the EU and Ghana on a more milder note, if I can put it that way, because we're always talking at the government level what the EU is doing with Ghana, what Ghana is doing with the European Union as well. This time, it was all about the EU Goodwill Ambassador. And Victoria Michaels has been unveiled to help the European Union in Ghana, achieve their goals in the country and also make an impact. What is a relationship without benefits? Mutual respect, shared democratic values. These are the elements that actually glue the EU and Ghana together. So impact has always been, at the end of the day, that is what they want to achieve when it comes to relations between the two countries. Thank you so much for watching. It's been great having you. And of course, we look forward to coming your way, same time next week. Enjoy the rest of our programs.